I wouldn't think they would like that.
Yeah, it should be similar review, like, so.
We got. You have to go wait for those games.
Call it the mute, right?
Don't even know.
I know you can't shoot a right on it, even if it's charging after you.
Really?
Yeah. They're so protected that even self-defense you can't.
Here's a color off.
Yeah. Humans are not endangered.
No, we aren't.
I see them in there.
8 point what billion?
It says someone else is sharing the host isn't allowing multiple presenter sharing.
Who's sharing me?
Go with the music.
All right, now try.
But we have 4, 5 annexations.
5 annexations, 9,
Presentations.
and a few more to come.
We are in a practice session.
I'm assuming there's a lot more in the pipeline.
Well,
Isn't July 1st, is that right?
next year.
Next time there's 4.
What's that?
I don't know, it looked like someone just. Oh, then, yeah,
There you go.
oh, my God.
And then everybody who doesn't annex by July 1 of next year automatically gets the sign.
Yes.
Is that right?
How that's all supposed to
So you can either determine it or be determined.
Yep. And it's determined by the city that has
Hopefully
the largest
another-
population.
Yeah.
Not necessarily can provide the
Bell
benefits.
Only one that.
Anyway.
That's the other.
So the folks in Granite.
And I trained on it.
Five
to
days.
it.
Where's the largest city?
I actually think it was gonna be.
All right. Here, are we ready to roll?
Go for it, please.
Recording in progress.
All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Today for our executive session, we have our City Attorney, Darian Alcorn, who will be presenting to us on recent state land use changes that will affect this body as well as the city and other cities around us. So we're going to get an overview of some of those things and some of the code amendments that will be coming to a planning commission meeting near you as well. Wow. Oh, take it away, Darian.
So I tried to start with what I thought would be the most interesting for you. It's a really, really long bill. And hopefully I have enough to fill all the time we need to fill.
Make it all
Nice.
here.
There just is no way.
I don't agree.
Sorry.
A, I'm not that creative, and B, it's, I'm really long on the best land use bill.
Okay. Go.
But I did try to put like the most fun stuff first. So the state legislature decided that we need in our code a ordinance that establishes the planning commission procedures for removing a planning commission member, which I don't think we have in there right now. So, and then also requirements for when a planning commissioner recuses themselves, and we do already have that in your bylaws. I think we adopted that not that long ago. But they wanted the planning commissioner removal to include some specific reasons. And those reasons are using public funds for a political purpose. So I'm thinking that means like maybe if you're campaigning and
Something's happened in another city.
public funds, yeah. violating the Municipal Officers and Employees Ethics Act, which you guys already get training on and know about and are aware of. And I don't know that we've always thought that it applied, but I guess now if you don't follow it, you can actually get removed.
Cool.
Yes. But you can
Accountability.
also voluntarily quit,
Accountability.
so you don't have to ethic violation just because you want to leave, right?
It'd be fun though.
And then if you're acting with the intent to influence a land use decision, and then this is a quote, because I'm not really entirely sure what it means, or did I think anyone who I talked about it with exactly knew, in a manner that creates actual impermissible bias or an unacceptable risk of impermissible bias. I would think any bias would be impermissible, but it's not bias based on like your knowledge and your expertise and your experience, right? It's that you predetermine in advance that there's some reason why you need to make a certain decision a certain way, and you're biased against that application for some different reason other than yes. That would if you got a bribe, that would be the impermissible bias. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, but you shouldn't act in a manner that creates actual impermissible bias. So maybe it's that you probably shouldn't be lobbying your other members of the commission before the meeting, telling them how bad the project is and those sorts of things. And then if you are acting in your administrative or your quasi-judicial role, both of those functions are functions you might be doing and where the impermissible bias isn't allowed. So the next one is, so then I went second into, maybe I did. Oh no, the second one I did was training, because I knew how much you loved training. And so I wanted to tell you that they did not change your annual training requirement. It's still 4 hours.
Great.
Yes.
And we can carry over
Still
this excess from Jenny, right? So next year, we're gonna have like nothing.
Cumulative.
annually.
14 hours next year.
The word annually actually is in there. You can still get 1 hour credit for attending as an appointed member 12 public meetings of the Planning Commission within a calendar year. That wasn't revised. And now that the requirement for the general powers and duties was fine-tuned to include the role of the Planning Commission in administrative, legislative, and quasi-judicial functions. So before, I think we were just doing a general powers, just kind of a broad one. Now that general powers has to talk about the role of the Planning Commission in these three functions. And then the other 3 hours now have 2 new topics that could be included. One is ex parte communication, and one is conflict of interest as potential topics. There's a pretty long list of topics. And so now there are 2 new exciting topics because, you know, before ex parte communication was allowed, it was just a sad one. This was the big chunk of what was done in SB 284 was detached accessory dwelling units, and it actually is going to be effective in October of this year. So the city doesn't have a really long time to do its new ordinances that are required under this legislation because they have to be done by October 1st. It applies to Sandy because Sandy's a moderate income housing plan city. I'm not sure where the cutoff of those cities are, but we're a first class city, so most of the time everything applies to us. And we are required to adopt the land use regulation under the statute, and so we will have to adopt something before October 1st. And it has to include allowing detached accessory dwelling units. So right now, we do allow accessory dwelling units inside of the primary dwelling, but we don't have any code for a detached accessory dwelling unit. And we need to allow those on any lot that's 11,000 square feet or larger in a residential zone and has a single family dwelling. So it can't be like a vacant lot and they just apply for the detached accessory structure, although then it wouldn't meet the definition. But I guess it couldn't be zoned residential and have an office building on it and qualify. And then the single family dwelling has to be a permitted use on that lot.
So will, if you have somebody who's developing raw land and they create, let's say they have enough land to create 10, 11,000 square foot lots, but they want to kind of double their income, and they develop it with a detached, accessory dwelling unit.
Yes. Yes,
But the owner would have to live in one of them.
yes.
The owner of that lot would have to
Yes.
live in one,
Yeah.
and then
They rent the other one out.
They
Yeah.
can do
Yeah.
whatever they want with the other.
Yes.
What about long-term and short-term rental?
So we can prohibit, and this will come up on the next slide, but we can prohibit a lease term less than 90 days in a detached accessory dwelling unit. We don't even, right now, long-term rental is 30 days or more, but we could actually require a detached to be 90 days or more if we wanted to do that. So, and now there will be a lot of policy decisions that will need to be made by the city council to steer what kind of code we'll adopt, because they do have some discretion in what they'll do. So like, for instance, you could allow them on smaller lots than 11,000 square. So,
Pretty small.
yes.
Yeah.
But you can have other restrictions. And so, because I think one of the things you could do is you could say only if you have this much coverage, or only, right, of your whole lot is only covered by this much.
So it's detached,
Then you can
meaning
have one.
like they've gotta have setbacks from the other house for like.
So we get to set setbacks, and that's a great,
100 feet.
so they put in the definition, so the state did not set the setbacks. They left the setbacks for the local jurisdiction.
So every city's gonna have different set.
Yes.
Can I just say something
Until
on this
the
real quick?
legislature changes that.
So we're taking our first draft from our staff on what this could look like to the city council on Tuesday night. So we're not waiting till October. You're gonna see these drafts once we get done with the city council, as far as they're gonna say, okay, you're heading in the right direction policy wise. We'll draft an ordinance in the next month or so, and we'll have that before the planning commission. We wanna just get this done
I don't blame. So
and
what,
in place.
so what setbacks are you guys?
We'll see
Don't know yet.
after Tuesday night.
Oh, you know, but you're not telling. See,
So these are the definitions that were adopted. I think maybe they also are in some other sections, but a detached accessory dwelling unit means an accessory dwelling unit that is not attached to or within a primary detached single-family dwelling and located on the same lot or parcel as the primary detached single-family dwelling. So they have to be on the same lot or parcel, and it has to contain
people are gonna convert a lot of detached
Dwelling.
garages into residences.
There is a component in the law that requires us to look at conversion and allow
Really?
conversion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm hoping I included that in here, so we'll see when we get to that. So so within this, where they're saying what we have to include in our ordinance, there are some shalls, some shall nots, some mays. And really the shall nots are called may nots in the code, but I like shall nots better. So on the shalls, we must require compliance with building health and fire codes. which we would want to anyway. And then we must include a process for the owner of a legally constructed accessory structure to convert the accessory structure to a detached accessory dwelling unit. I also don't know what that means, and I actually was on a Zoom call with a lot of other municipal attorneys, and I asked the question about what that means probably 3 different ways until I was kind of maybe irritating the League of Cities and Towns person who was on the meeting. Because it says that if it meets the setbacks and it meets building codes, then they can convert it. But in my mind, I would think the plain meaning of the word convert means you make some sorts of changes to it. I'm not sure how much of those changes we can regulate when it's an existing.
You have to make sure it's have.
Yes.
I mean, there are certain things that you have to have, like.
Yes.
Water.
But when you see the other things we can require for a new unit, that will leave it open to why would you or would you not be able to require that on a
Well,
conversion.
if you have something on top of a garage, could you put that into a dwelling? Because over the years, we've had people that put places on top of their garages.
That would be determined on a height restriction when we look at that, whether we're gonna allow on top of garages to be,
Right.
we'll have to do that.
So if it's already there, it's probably an internal. Because it's not changing the primary dwelling. Right? So that's an internal ATU when it's within the primary dwelling structure.
Well, I mean, this is, have detachable garages, if
Oh,
they put a business on top of it, we always tell them, well, you can't use it for rentals, and
Yes.
that's a common thing.
So our shall nots is we can't require a conditional use permit if it's in a primarily residential zone. We can't require more than 2 on-site parking spaces if it's 650 square feet or larger. We can't require more than 1 parking space if it's smaller than 650. And we can't include any design standards that conflict with section 102618, which I didn't put in here because I didn't think we would have time. But those are the design standards that we can't regulate for a single family detached house. And they include some things like color, materials,
What about if
windows,
you live in an area that
locations,
has restricted covenant?
then
Follow those restricted covenants.
so then the property owner has a contractual obligation, a private contractual obligation, but Sandy City doesn't enforce restrictive covenants. We might, I think, with applications, have them represent to us that they're in compliance. Just say, yeah, I'm complying, but here are all the things we can do. So we can require conformance to land use regulations for structure size, dimension, height, and maximum lot coverage. So that kind of goes to the question you asked, that if you were going to allow them a smaller lot, you might want to dictate some maximum lot coverage, even on an 11,000 square foot lot. Right? You can require conformance to setbacks, and I think this is it looks to me like this statute allows us to set the setbacks for a detached accessory dwelling unit, even if it's different than what the primary structure would follow or what another type of accessory structure would follow. And you can take into consideration when you consider those setbacks, the proximity to property lines and other structures, easements, window orientation, massing, or, and this is also quoted because I'm not quite sure what it means, other elements. So you can evaluate what the setbacks should be based on some objective criteria and set what those are. You can require design, also quoted from exactly what it says in the code, consistent with the design of the single family dwelling. So we can have an ordinance that says it has to be consistent with the single family dwelling. We can prohibit it from being larger than the primary dwelling. We can prohibit it from being in a PUE or another recorded easement. We can prohibit it from being in the front yard, and we can prohibit it from being rented for less than 90 days if we want to do that. we can require the owner to occupy either the dwelling or the detached ADU. So I think they get to choose where they want to live, but they have to live in one of them. We can require replacement of any parking spaces that are lost if a garage is converted. We can prohibit more than one ADU on a lot or parcel. So that means if they have an internal ADU, we can prohibit them from having a detached ADU because that would put you
That's a basement apartment generally.
on that parcel. And we can prohibit an ADU that will not have adequate access to utility services or if a utility doesn't have sufficient capacity.
That's another question I had. What about taxes? Does the tax follow the primary residence?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the taxes
Yes.
are gonna go up.
It's not a separate parcel.
Right, so that it'll tax, but the value would be better. You have a greater asset. Yeah. And I guess this is all because we have such little housing available,
Yes,
and they think this is going to solve that.
yes. And part of it is probably sort of
I
a,
think there's no silver bullet to that.
No, there
problem,
isn't.
But it's in part, it's part of the overall objective and solution to that.
right? And part of it is that I think the lack of housing also prevents people who already have housing from having other housing, right? And so they're in big houses on big lots that they don't need a giant yard because they're maybe are a little bit older and their kids are gone and can't mow anymore or don't mow anymore, whatever. So I think
Rather
that
mowing,
contributes
build that
to
their house.
now they could make their tenant mow. It could have water never mind, I'm not slamming into that.
Do what?
It could have water conservation too, right? If you have more structures, then you're doing less watering so,
They're using more water.
but
Than the other, people use more water than that does.
and there's less permeable surface on the lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so that was all on detached ADUs, and this is on planning commission recommendations and how planning commission recommendations to the city council work, and they changed it just a tiny bit. You wouldn't notice it because in Sandy, everything is always timely sent to the planning commission, and the planning commission always makes a decision, and there's not ever a delay. So, but it has been for quite some time that the city council could go ahead without a recommendation if the planning commission took too long to make one. It's just before this change, it was presumed that the recommendation was negative if the planning commission hadn't made a recommendation. Now it's not considered as a negative recommendation, and the city council can just determine if it took too long and evaluate the application and make a decision.
How long is too long? Or does every city council decide that's a week, 2 weeks?
So, and I don't think we have a time limit, nor did this legislation ever require us to put one. So I think it just says city council would make the determination. So there is a provision for, and I didn't look it up, but it's referenced, and it's a provision for applicants to make a claim to the city council that it's been too long. I just didn't look up the provisions, so I don't know how.
Will that be defined in code? How long? I can just see each city council going, well, this is taking too long, we're gonna find.
I don't think it's gives a definition of how long. I don't know how to answer that, and I don't think Darren does, because it doesn't give it.
No, it doesn't.
Someone
It
will complain and
requires-
someone will decide, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't require us to have it, and it's actually been in state code for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it would be determined, and we haven't had the problem, so it hasn't come up.
This planning commission does, I mean, this is coming from somewhere else.
Can they
You guys
leverage
pass
that?
things along very promptly and quick.
No, I know, but can they leverage that against you? So like if you're sitting down with people trying to work something out,
Yeah, they could.
They get frustrated and write a letter to the city council saying Jim's taking a long
They
time.
could, yep.
Because I met with him twice.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be nicer if they were more, not so vague on it because, I mean, what if we do have, well, we can really go down a rabbit hole on it and we won't.
Yeah, we don't. need
But
to.
it is, that's what they put, so it is hard for us to manage that with no date or anything,
can't.
you know. It's tough.
You can get a guy in there, meet with you, and you say, well, let's think about it. He goes, writes a letter saying,
Yeah.
Jim's being non-responsive.
So I
I have a
think
few of those.
they have already an existing report provision for applications that are pending with staff. So I really think the recommendation provision is for the planning commission. It would be consistently tabled items and then wouldn't bring them back.
Oh, so it's if we are
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
We already have
If
been reined
the
in.
planning commission doesn't take action on that.
And he won't let us know.
On making the recommendation. And like I said, it's never come up here because our planning commission does not do that. And this is another October 1st deadline, this online posting. It's just interesting. It's not anything that you guys would be working on, but we do have a requirement now that we have an application checklist for each land use application type. And that checklist is posted on our website by October 1st. And they did add a little bit of a description of what the checklist would have on it, and it's all required plans and documents that make a complete application. We have pretty thorough checklists now for our applicants if you've never seen them or weren't aware of that. So it's probably just a matter of making sure that they can get to them on our website, which I think they also already can, so.
Some of them need to overhaul, but we'll have our applications updated, to make sure that they're compliant by deadline.
So I did see a recommendation to have those go to the city council for adoption on checklists if you wanted them to be substantive. But I'm not sure if they are substantive or if they're just a reiteration of what's already.
And that's only a recommendation, that's not a must.
No, it wasn't in the state statute. It was someone interpreting the state statute, a planner. Appeals of land use decisions. So you also don't hear appeals, but we have recently had a couple of appeals of planning commission decisions. And the state did change some stuff about appeals. They said after, I think it's July 1st of this year, a legislative body, so that would be our city council and our government, cannot be the appeal authority. I've been here for 9 years, and I don't think in that whole 9 years the city council has ever been the appeal authority. So I think Sandy got rid of that a long time ago and isn't going to be affected. And then they changed the standard of review depending on who the appellant is of the land use decision. So if it is an adversely affected party who's not the applicant, their standard, they have to prove that the land use decision is illegal or the factual findings are clearly erroneous.
If they're not the landowner.
If they're not the landowner.
That's pretty heavy. It's pretty big.
Hard to lay out.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it should be. I mean, if it's just some guy who wants to complain about something.
Yes. And we do have someone who would have been affected by that new standard, except they've already filed, so,
The Lisi one, is that what you're
Yeah.
referencing? Yeah,
yeah.
that was,
Oh, and they already completed the appeal even,
to district
so-
court.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, so we won't get to
But
use
that
the
would
new
provide
standard.
better clarity on what they can appeal and the grounds that they can make an appeal
Correct,
than what is currently in statute.
correct. And they did argue that the decision was illegal, so they didn't not attempt to make that argument. And then the standard, if they are the applicant, is that they have to prove the land use decision is illegal or is not supported by substantial evidence. So they have a lower burden. And then the other thing they changed was, and I really think this might have been related to a Sandy City appeal, I'm not entirely sure, but they added that an appeal authority may only allow speakers at the hearing who represent the appellant, land use applicant, or municipality. So no one else can be given an opportunity to speak at an appeal hearing.
No public comment.
No public comment.
Really?
Because it's, in essence, it's new evidence. If you were
That
open
might
that up.
have been us.
Yeah, so appeals, and we probably haven't done a lot of appeal training because you guys don't hear
I guess
them, but
appeal is directed at an individual or an individual project, not at the group in general, so.
correct. So appeals are on the record. So at the planning commission, you create the record and at the staff level. So the record's created by the staff report, the application, and everything that you see when you make the decision. If someone appeals that to the Board of Adjustment, then the Board of Adjustment should only be looking at what you looked at. They can't collect new evidence. So the first thing they do is they determine the record is complete, and then they make a decision based on the record. If they determined the record was not complete, they would remand it to the Planning Commission to create the record. So that's why I think where this came from is that they're reviewing the record and the applicant is making representations about the applicant. The city's making representations about the record. And so they all can speak at the hearing and do a presentation at the hearing. But if it's just the general public, then
That makes sense.
they are not allowed to speak.
Probably ought to.
We get close.
Oh,
6
we're
or 9.
done.
We're
And
done?
look, that was the
Oh,
end.
wow.
How great was that? I know.
Good.
Just for 5 minutes?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
There's some chips and a brownie there. I don't know how much Dave likes the brownie.
Was that enough of 3 or 4 or do you want me
You want
to
keep going?
do water next?
Well, if fees were up, then I would put it down. It just can't be the same. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things. Something's been already gone, so I have to change it.
Yeah, we get it going.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, whenever you are.
Recording in progress.
All right, good evening. Welcome to tonight, April 16th Planning Commission. We'll do a quick round of introductions and then a Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll get into our agenda.
Ron Mortimer. Cameron Duncan.
Danny Schoenfeld,
Dave Bromley.
David Hart.
Steve Wrigley.
and then James, do you want to do introduction of staff?
Yeah, James Sorensen, I'm the Community Development Director. I have Darian Alcorn here, the Senior City Attorney. We have Mike Wilcox as the Planning Director. Brian McHouston, Assistant Director in the department. Let's see, was Ivan here? Ivan Purse here. He's a Transportation Engineer. Brittany Ward, Public Works. See Sarah Stringham, Senior Planner, as of today. Clint Spencer, Development Services Manager, and man, I am looking right at you. Thomas, he's only been here 3 years, and we're happy for the years we've had him, but appreciate Thomas. Aisha, Planning Secretary, and she does all the minutes and so forth for the Planning Commission.
All right, we'll do a quick Pledge of Allegiance and into the agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first public hearing item tonight is the Wilcox annexation.
All right, good evening, everybody. This is the Wilcox annexation. Just by way of announcement, we have 5 annexations on the agenda tonight. All of these are annexations that have signed the consent form where they've expressed interest in coming into Sandy. So a little bit different than the ones we've had on the agenda in the recent past. You as the Planning Commission are the recommending body to the City Council on the annexation as well as the zoning. And so tonight we'll go through these different annexations and you'll provide a recommendation to the City Council. So the first one is the Wilcox annexation located at 10275 South Altavilla Drive. They signed a consent form on March 25th of this year. So this entire Altavilla area is zoned R143 in the county, which is similar to our R140, which is residential single-family homes on 40,000 square foot lots. And in this area, we're also proposing the A designation for animal rights. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, or
Any questions from the commission? This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now and we'll address you one at a time. I am seeing no hands.
I will close that to public comment and bring that back to the commission for discussion and deliberation.
Ready for a motion?
Please.
Make a motion that the planning commission send a positive recommendation to the city council that the Wilcox annexation be approved and zoned R140A based on the 4 findings detailed in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
David Hart,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Cassell 2 annexation.
Yeah, this is located up off of Castell Drive. We have 3 different properties, 2811, 2813, and 2815 East Castell Drive. Again, property owners signed the consent either on March 25th or March 26th of this year. In the county, they're zoned R110, and the city, we will zone them R110 as well.
Any questions? Are any of the property owners here tonight that would like to speak on this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now and we'll address you one at a time. There's one hand raised. Miss Jane Santoro, you may unmute yourself.
You'll have, if you could please state your name and address, and you'll have 2 minutes.
You want to talk? Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We live across the street, almost directly across from where this building is going.
No, because you're not in the mattress yet.
Is this in relation to the annexation item?
No.
Oh,
When will you discuss the use for the mattress?
That's later on the agenda.
All right,
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Anybody else online?
I am seeing no other hands raised.
Okay, we'll close that to public comment and bring that back to the commission.
I'm ready for a motion.
Please.
Make a motion that we recommend, that the planning commission send a positive recommendation to the city council that the Kessel 2 annexation be approved and zoned R110 based on the 4 findings as outlined in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
David Hart,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Apple Hollow Cove annexation.
Yeah, so these are properties located off Dimpledale on Apple Hollow Cove, which is a private street. If you remember, we've had additional annexations on the same street. We've had Scrub Oak, which is the property furthest on the west, adjacent to Dimpledale Park, and the G. Miller annexation, which is just south of the Orchards development. Those are already in the process. These folks signed a consent on March 25th and 26th. They're zoned R121 in the county and proposed to be R120A here in Sandy.
Any questions? This item has been noticed to the public. Anybody here tonight would like to speak to this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now and we'll address you one at a time. I am seeing no hands.
Close that to public comment and bring that back to the commission.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Please.
I move that the planning commission send a positive recommendation to the city council that the Apple Hollow Cove amendment, right, annexation, be approved and zoned R120A based upon the following 4 findings.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
David Hart,
Yes?
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Next is the Dimple Dell Circle annexation.
Yeah, so this is just across the street from Apple Hollow Cove. We have 3 property owners within Dimpledale Circle. There are a total of 6 properties within the cul-de-sac, but we're only doing 3 at this time. So those are 3046, 3047, and 3072 East Dimpledale Circle. We're also including the road in this particular area. So these property owners signed a consent on March 26th. They are zoned R121 in the county, and so we're proposing to match that in the city, which is R120, not with the animal designation. However, these lots are currently legal non-conforming lots in the county, so they will remain legal non-conforming lots in the city.
Any questions? Okay. This item's been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to this item? Anybody online?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. I am seeing no hands.
We'll close that to public comment and bring that back to the commission.
So did this talk about what you're saying, non-conforming in the recommendations?
It's in the analysis.
Okay, all right, that's where I was at.
I'm ready for a motion.
Please.
I'll move that the planning commission send a positive recommendation to the city council that the Dimpledale Circle annexation be approved and zoned R120 based upon the 4 following findings.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
David Hart,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Van Leeuwen annexation.
So yeah, this is located at 9520 South Cassell Drive. They signed a consent on March 29th of this year. So they're zoned R110 in the county. We'll propose to zone them R110 here in Sandy. It was brought to my attention in the staff report that I put their acreage as being .29, but they're actually .50. They're still going to be legal as far as the R110 zoning goes, so staff would recommend positive recommendation.
Any questions? This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to speak on this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. I'm seeing no hands.
We'll close that to public comment and bring that back to the commission. Is there,
Ready for motion.
please?
Make a motion that the planning commission send a positive recommendation to the city council that the Van Leeuwen annexation be approved and zoned R110 based on the 4 findings detailed in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
David Hart,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the 9854 South LLC Commercial Condo Preliminary Subdivision Review.
And then Chair, if I can recuse myself, I
please.
was involved with the application. Thank you.
Is that you're going to do the,
Yeah, we'll let.
thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll introduce this item. This is a request for a subdivision plat review for a condominium plat, subdividing a commercial building into 2 separate condominium units. This is presented by Kenneth Chapman, representing the property owner Kika Investments. As I explained, this would split the existing building into 2 individual condominium units, and the rest of the site would be common area to those 2 units within that existing building. There's no proposed additions to the building or any new development associated with the request. I believe the applicant is here and can present on their item, followed by Thomas Irvin, the staff planner.
you could just state your name and address for the, or business address for the record, please. And pick one or the other. Just speak directly into one or the other.
Great, thanks. My name is David Jenkins. I'm with Ensign Engineering. And we've been hired by the applicant to represent him for the approval process. And because Mr. Chapman is out of the country. So I'm here today just to say that we've read through the staff report, we agree with everything that we have, and here to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, as was said before, this is just a commercial condominium subdividing an existing building. This building's been here since the early 70s. It's been a gym, it's been a grocery store, it's gone through a lot of different life cycle uses over time. This current review is just to basically subdivide the interior of the building into 2 privately owned spaces. Let's see if I got an image of that. So you've got your Unit A and your Unit B. There's limited common area available on the north and south side that serve those two units. The parking will be common area for both units as well. During the review process, we do send the head building official out and have them have a look and do an inspection of the building. One of our primary concerns under these kind of reviews is that the building's in good repair. There's been a reserve study set up to make sure that the future owners do have some funds if they do need to do replacement life cycle things. There was a list that was developed that the applicant will need to complete prior to the recording of this subdivision plat. Other than that, everything looks good for us, and we think it should be recommended for approval.
Any questions?
Questions, can they sublease these 2 units? I mean, if they have what, 4 now?
Yes, they'll have the full rights of ownership for each unit. So if they wanted to rent Unit B to 3 or 4 different tenants, they could do so.
They could
But
do
their
that.
ownership would be designated the Unit B.
So there are 2 different owners, a Unit A and Unit B owners?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay.
This item's been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here who would like to speak on this item? Mike, anybody online?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. I am seeing no hands.
Okay, we'll close the public comment, bring that back to the commission. Any other questions or ready to make a motion?
No, I can make a motion.
Okay.
I will make a motion that the planning commission determine that preliminary review is substantially complete for the 9854 South Building LLC commercial condominium located at 9854 South, 700 East, based on the 3 findings and 6 conditions that are detailed in the staff report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan. Oh, sorry. David Hart,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. Can we grab Cameron? Oh, there you go. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Hartman Estates subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This next item is the Hartman Estates. This is for preliminary subdivision review by the Planning Commission. It's located at 3853 East Little Cottonwood Lane. This is being presented by David Jenkins with Ensign Engineering, representing the property owner Taylor Hartman. They're proposing to split this in existing 1 lot into 2. I believe Mr. Jenkins is here and can present on behalf of the applicant, followed by Thomas Irvin, who's the staff planner.
Good evening. David Jenkins here with Ensign Engineering, and I'm the applicant representing the property owner, Mr. Tyler Hartman. And we're just excited to finally be at this stage of the process. It's been a long time that we've been working on this and trying to get to this point. So Mr. Hartman and his wife Gina have owned this property for many, many years, since the 80s. And it's a nice big piece of property with a big home on it. And They would like to stay in the area and wanted to be able to see if they could carve off a piece of the property, create a lot that still meets all the zoning requirements to be able to build a smaller home that's more comfortable for them now. And so we've been working with staff for some time and gone through several iterations of comments, and we appreciate working with them and all the things that we've gone through. We're at this point to present the plat, the preliminary plat for approval. I do need to say that in the last few days that I've been working with both Mr. Hartman and his neighbor to the north, Mr. Todd Smith, and on actually what's going to happen on their common property line. And so basically, Mr. Hartman owns the property, as you can see on in red, and the home Mr. Smith is the house just, it's 3825 is the address. So there's the common line there, and there's also an easement for Mr. Smith to access his property across the Hartman property. There's a fence that is not along that property line. It's kind of at a diagonal. Thank you. There it is. So I just wanted to share this with you to show you that both parties have been looking at this, going back and forth, and agreeing that the fence, the existing fence is there, will stay in place. And so just a slight deviation from what you've seen on the preliminary plat. The 20-foot fire access easement will shift over as shown on the drawing and we'll do that on the final plat. So other than that, that's the only change, and we're excited to get this approved. Thank you. I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Dave?
So on the subdivision plat, I'm a little confused. The property line seems to be tangent with the gutter line.
Say that again?
And I'm trying to understand why that drawing that you're showing there is got the property line back from the gutter line. So you have your curb and gutter right there.
Yes.
And then you've got what looks to be probably a 3-foot distance between that area and where the property line is at, correct?
That's correct.
On the plat that I'm looking at, the gutter line appears to be dashed in, and it appears as though your property line is perpendicular, tangent to that gutter line. And I'm just wondering which one's correct and which one's incorrect.
I need to see the one you're referring to. Let me look at
It's the one in the packet, Mike.
I can pull it up. I have a slide with the flag on it.
It just says produced by Enzyme Engineering. That's all I know.
So let me say this: the curb and gutter is not at the property line. So there's a gap there.
No, I understand, but your drawing is showing it that way.
Okay.
I just want to be clear that when we approve this, that everybody knows what it is we're approving.
Right.
And that the Hartmans aren't going to have a problem when this gets signed off and they try to build their home, and then all of a sudden we're showing a property line at the back of the curb.
How do I address this? The property line is where it's at. The curb and gutter is where it's at, as shown. I can't quite zoom in. Let me look at the closer map that you're referring to, Mr. Hart. That could be a confusion.
So it's not going to have a formal cul-de-sac kind of connection, I think is maybe what you're getting to.
No, I'm getting to the property line location.
Yeah, but usually on a knuckle lot or a lot on a cul-de-sac, you have a wide berth of property line connectivity. This one kind of has more of a point like you're seeing here. There is a small nook right there that's a street dedication. We're going to require them to continue the improvements that you see at the street. So the sidewalk, curb gutter sidewalk is going to be maintained. And yes, you're right, the property line is tangent, but that's not going to create an issue for us because we measure setbacks we measure the lot width from the inset of that setback. This is going to meet all of those basic requirements. And I guess maybe what you're asking about is the fact that Mr. Hartman doesn't own that triangular piece?
I'm asking the question that the two drawings do not
match.
Now
That's the
now I
problem.
understand, Mr. Hart. Let me explain. So
And as an architect, I deal with this every single day,
I understand.
where civil engineering drawings and architectural drawings don't match, and someone winds up caught in the middle, and I don't want the Hartmans caught in the middle.
Okay, I totally understand. So, since I'm the engineer on the Monte Cristo subdivision, now I understand the situation. So when we did the Monte Cristo subdivision with the cul-de-sac, the actual property line goes right to and is tangent with the Hartman property. So that gap is the sidewalk. And so so they own right to the right-of-way. And then if you look at the plat, that line, it's not shown on that drawing, but it jogs back down. So if you look at the, what's trying to represent is on the Monte Cristo plat, the property line on the south side of the cul-de-sac is the curb and gutter. And then as it comes around and approaches the property next to the Hartmans, it jogs to the east and hits their property line. That is what's dedicated in the Monte Cristo plat. And the reason for that was so the sidewalk could continue, but there was never going to be a sidewalk on the south side of the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
That make sense?
Well, the drawings aren't correct, so I just want it noted that I brought this up. And so if there's an issue that comes up, I don't want the Hartmans hung upside down for this. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I think they are correct. Just
Well, I can show you what I'm concerned about,
okay, that would be great.
if you want to come here.
Absolutely.
Right here. You can see your inside line here comes around and is tangent to the property line. Not the outside line, not the area that you're talking about over here, but your inside line where your curb and gutter is.
So let me explain what this is. The inside line.
We need this conversation
if you can-
on the record.
It is correct.
We can't have the conversation on a sidebar.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And I'll be happy to clarify it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Thomas, do you want to fill up? Okay.
So if we can clarify a little bit, this map is our GIS map that the city has here that shows where the property line dedication goes to. It's not to the back of curb, it's behind the curb and inclusive of the sidewalk that goes through that cul-de-sac. That property line right here where my mouse is shown does intersect with and is tangent to the subject property line. This is the Hartman parcel here that's highlighted. And then this is a city-owned parcel to the south.
Okay.
And then this property line here is where the public right-of-way ends. And this portion along here is where the Hartman property intersects the public right-of-way. So they do have a full connection to the public right-of-way that is at least 20 feet wide. And their access would be off of this existing location where the driveway is at. That will be modified as was shown on that drawing here. Let's see. Oh, I'm not sharing that screen. So coming back to this plan, where that existing dedication comes to, this is where the dedication ends. It's tangent to that property line, to this point here. And what's shown in the darker gray is where they're extending that right-of-way to. So they'll be adding to that right-of-way with that darker gray, which would be to the back of the proposed walk. Does that help clarify?
I don't have a problem with that drawing. I have a problem with this drawing.
Which drawing? The plat?
The one that's in the, yeah,
The proposed plat?
yeah. And we can move on. If everybody's telling me
Well-
that I'm wrong, I'm okay with that.
As long as.
But I just want to make sure that when they go to get their building permit, that they're not struggling with it.
That they have the minimum 20-foot width connectivity for vehicle access to their private
That's correct.
property. Okay.
Do you want to move on, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I want to see my slides, though. So when we first looked at that, the Hartmans were here first. Everything is slowly developed around their property. Primarily, this has been a flag lot since inception. It was surrounded by fields for quite some time. Let me see if I can move forward, or can this go the other way? Okay. As you can see, the drawing with the blue and the red would help. Or am I back to where I can drive? There we go. Okay, so their original lot, which is 1.8 acres, and they built their home on it many, many years ago. Monte Cristo Lacaille recently completed their development north of there. They're currently working on building permits. And Quail View Cove was extended there, and that cul-de-sac created. That's when the Hartmans approached us and said, hey, is there an opportunity there to have an alternative street frontage and maybe create an additional lot so we could build a smaller home and sell off our larger home? And so we looked at that, and the primary concern staff had was this is an existing a flag lot. And it meets the general requirements we have of a 20-foot access way. However, over time, it has not maintained the 20 feet of hard surfacing or the clear space required for emergency vehicle access. So to leave that as a flag lot scenario would probably present problems. So we had the fire marshal go visit the site. We've discussed various different options and have arrived at the solution of providing a fire easement on the north portion of the red lot coming off of Quail View. It has been an existing condition that it's difficult to find this home coming off of Little Cottonwood because of the 20-foot. It is marked, but vehicles would have a hard time finding it, and there is no reasonable way an emergency vehicle could get down that little narrow corridor. And so to alleviate that, they worked out an agreement with the fire marshal to have the easement on the north side, which kind of dovetails with the easement that exists already for that north home. And so that will be an undeveloped area that will conquer both of those issues for us. Besides that, all of the general requirements meet our standard zoning requirements. We are requiring them to put an additional bit of concrete on their existing home. So if a smaller emergency vehicle came in, it would have the ability to turn around on their lot. Other than these kind of safety concerns we have long-term, staff feels like it's a good development and should be moved forward.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for the staff? Thank you. This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here tonight who would like to speak on it? Anybody online?
If you're joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. I do see one hand raised. Mr. Todd Smith, you may unmute yourself.
Hi there. I joined the meeting a little bit late. Probably none of you people in the room probably had to file your taxes late or do an extension, but that's what I was doing up until a few seconds ago. But I didn't catch the first part of it, and the plan that David Jenkins put together, which I believe both the Hartmans and my wife and I approve of. I just want to hear that plan is acceptable or approved by the city.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you.
Yeah, Todd Smith at 9705 South, 3775 East. That's been our address for 20 plus years now.
Okay.
What is at the end of the cul-de-sac next to and sharing the driveway by way of right-of-way easement with the Hartmans.
We'll have that answer for you after we close public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else, Mike?
I'm seeing no other hands raised.
Okay, we'll close that to public comment.
I
Do you want to
should-
answer that question?
Not really answer the question, but more clarify something. He's the property owner that does have the easement across Mr. Hartman's property. One of the things we want to, hopefully we can accomplish is to get his property readdressed off of Quellview Cove for the same reasons I mentioned earlier, so vehicles can find it. We're not going to make that a condition of this approval. However, we can do an address addendum with the property owner and actually have their property reflect the real street access that it currently has. We do understand that he was there before there were streets, but at this point, it's difficult to find his home.
Okay.
So, but it's not a condition of approval.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring that back to the commission, unless there's any further questions.
No,
Okay.
I'm ready for a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that the planning commission
David,
determine.
on that motion, I think on condition number 2, it's prospective, not perspective.
You're correct. So it's probably a typo. Did you see that? Perspective, prospective. Do I have to say that?
It does change the meaning.
Okay, so, thank you. So I'll make a motion that the planning commission determines that the preliminary subdivision review is substantially complete for the Hartman Estate subdivision located at 3853 East Little Cottonwood Lane based on the following 6 findings and subject to the following 5 conditions with the modification that the condition number 2 where it says perspective is changed to prospective. Is that right? Conditions.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
David Hart,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the mattress by appointment retail use, conditional use permit.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item on our agenda is a conditional use request for the property located at 8392 South, 700 East. It's an existing retail center that's located in the BC zone. Within this zone, the zone requires that any retail use obtain a conditional use permit. That is what they're seeking to obtain for the property currently. The applicant, I believe, is in attendance. Michael McFall or the representatives for Plaza 8400 LLC, and they can speak on this particular request, followed by Sarah Stringham, who is the staff planner on the item.
If you could pick one of the 2 mics and just name and address, please.
Michael Romeo McFall, McFall Beds LLC, DBA Mattress by Appointment Sandy, 8392 South 700 East, Sandy, Utah 84070.
Thank you. And then whatever information or additional presentation you'd like to give.
Mattress by Appointment is a low-traffic, appointment-driven retail concept with over 500 locations nationwide. You know, it's a franchise from Florida. It is a appointment-only business model, which means there's going to be minimal traffic impact or parking requirements. There's zero to no interest financing options. We're selling middle grade mattresses. It's basically overstocked. It's very low price, like 50-80% below retail. They're going to be able to pick it up at the store or have it shipped to their home. And I'm having the place renovated so it looks nice.
And have you had a chance to read the findings and conditions in the staff report?
Financing conditions?
Just the findings and conditions that they
yes,
set forth.
I did read the staff report.
You understand all of those?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? I think we're good. Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you. Just a few comments about The parking is that from the 1982 site plan, there were 31 parking spots, so that is currently legal non-conforming status. And we did find in the old site plan that the site would be allowed to have 50% retail, 50% office use. This actually does bring that over into a 67%, 33% use, but because this is a furniture store with showroom space, that actually brings the parking that's needed down, which is why we would allow this type of use to continue for the site. So,
any questions?
So if we grant conditional use for this particular case, does that follow in the future? Where
Yes.
it may change in the parking issue in the future?
So it would need to continue as 50-50 with retail and office, but if there was a similar use with like a showroom, that would be allowed to kind of offset to make it the 67-33% again.
So it just sort of reverts back to what it was, should he leave and then have to come again, or does it carry through?
Ask that one more time.
Does the conditional use permit carry through from now on? for
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, conditional uses run with the land, meaning that they are there as long as the use is in place, and even if it's change of owner or change of occupant, this condition of approval, or sorry, the conditional use permit is in place.
Yeah,
and these conditions would apply.
The reason I ask that is in the future, if it goes to another business and they have more traffic, you still have the parking to deal with that.
Well, that's where it would have to remain the 50% retail, 50% office use, and unless a specific retail use is like a furniture or showroom,
Okay.
is where that keeps it at a lower parking threshold, and so that would be allowed.
Okay, that
If
explains it.
if I'm
Thank you.
answering that correctly.
Any other questions? Thank you. This item has been noticed to the public. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to speak on this item? Anybody online, Mike?
If you are joining us via Zoom webinar and would like to speak on this particular item, please use the raise your hand feature now, and we'll address you one at a time. We do have one hand raised that's been patiently waiting. Santoros, you may unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes.
Go ahead and state your name and address for the record, please.
Jane Santoro, 8386 South, 745 East. Sing. 84094.
Go ahead.
We want to know how much, if there's going to be much construction going on, is the first question.
Go ahead and keep asking your questions, and we'll answer after the public comment period is over.
And our concern is that this is going to start to turn 700 into a street that looks like State Street.
Okay. Were there any other questions or comments?
That's it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, do you want to answer the construction question?
So there's no construction or improvements being proposed at this time, so the building that's there will continue as is. So no construction, no new development happening on the site for any of the stores in that strip mall. So.
It's just a tenant improvement, meaning interior space remodeling.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Is there anybody else online, Mike?
I'm seeing no other hands raised.
Thank you. We will close that to public comment, bring that back to the commission for deliberation or action.
I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Go ahead.
Make a motion that the planning commission approve a conditional use permit for commercial retail sales and services and approve a reduced parking ratio for this proposed use of a furniture store as described in the staff report for the property located at 8392 South, 700 East, based on the 3 findings and 6 conditions detailed in the staff report.
Is there a second?
I'll second, sorry.
Go ahead.
Dave Bromley,
Yes.
Cameron Duncan,
Yes.
David Hart,
Yes.
Ron Mortimer,
Yes.
Steve Wrigley,
Yes.
Danny Schoenfeld.
Yes.
This motion carries.
Thank you and good luck. All right, we have just 2 other administrative items. Minutes from the March 19th meeting. Get an approval for
Motion to
those.
approve.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Mike and James, any updates?
Yes. I gave you a few, but I'm gonna turn the time over to Mike real quick to do a couple staffing, a couple things that he wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
Thank you, James. Recently, we've had a couple of planners that are going to be leaving us, unfortunately. Thomas Irvin being one of those, and we wanted to recognize him for his contributions to Sandy City over the last 3.5 years. We're going to be sad to miss him and having him around. We also had Bryn Bolander. She's accepted a position elsewhere and will be leaving us as well. So we'll have a couple of big shoes to fill in our department. So it seems to have come in waves here this spring with planners leaving our department. But we've had some good additions, and Clint joining our team earlier this year, and we anticipate we'll be able to fill those roles with some other really good planners as well. But they will be extremely missed, and just wanted to recognize Thomas for his efforts, and we're going to miss him. We wish him well in his next adventure, wherever that takes him. In other HR news in our department, Sarah Stringham, as James alluded to earlier tonight, was promoted to a senior planner position within our department. She's been with us for over 3 years. So with these departures, this was a good time to make that move to help her out in progression in her career, and we wanted to congratulate her publicly as well tonight. So when we get those new staffing figured out, we'll let you guys know and introduce those planners to you all. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing, James. Okay. The only other administrative business item would be that our next Planning Commission meeting will be on May 7th. There's 5 Thursdays in the month of April, so we've got an extra week in between our typical schedule. So enjoy that extra Thursday off, and we'll see you all on May 7th.
Okay. Well, thank you, and good luck, Thomas. And with that, any other items? One last motion?
Make a motion, we close?
Motion to adjourn?
We can close and adjourn.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you.